Okay, everybody, welcome to the Boss Babe Call. It is January the 19th, 2026, and I was not supposed to be here, but since I am here, I thought we're going to do the Boss Babe Call. Mary Kay Leadership Conference is going on right now in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got to go to the first few days. My husband had to have some surgery yesterday, so we came back last night and got it done, and all my girlfriends up there are taking copious notes to share with me later. Even some sent me some recordings, so they're so awesome. And I thought a few days of leadership conference is better than no days, especially since I haven't missed one in 37 years. So I'm like, we're going. We're going. So we drove all night, got home at 2:30. He had this eye surgery this morning at well, we had to be there at 10, but he had it about 12:45. But anyway, he's doing good. Thank you for your prayers. I know a lot of you were praying for him. But anyway, tonight is week 3 with our Boss Babe series that's called It's grab my book here. It's time. Okay. Y'all know your Boss Babe, your book here. So if y'all want to, we'll start out with the one of the scriptures for tonight. And that scripture page is on page 8. So we're just going to go with the third one on here. And it says, it's Isaiah 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. That's a good word, right? So let's flip on over. I want to remind you that we're all doing the Kit and Commit, book 8 and hold 5 in 2 weeks. There's a tracking sheet right in that workbook. It's so good. So I hope you're using it. And you know what? We were talking about this at leadership with some of the directors, and they're like, what if you booked one and held one? If you hadn't done one in a long time, that may just be a real big accomplishment for you. Let's just book one and hold it. Because this is what I know. Once you book one and hold it, whether you make money or not, which you probably will, you will realize, well, I'm not doing this. This was fun. I really enjoy it. So I just challenge you, if book 8, hold 5 intimidates you, book one and hold one. And then at that party, strive to get 2 bookings from that party. You literally could start with one and get all of this done by booking 2 parties from every party. Okay. So really think about that. Also, I want you to make sure you're working on your IPA sheets in the book, where you track the actual things that are making you money for the week. Because unfortunately, thinking about Mary Kay does not count. Why, right? We'd all be millionaires because we think about it all the time, or at least I do. So you really want to track those things that really actually are making you money. And those are in the thing. And you want to look at that. How many things are you doing that are making you money each and every week? Um, this week is Kristin Sharpe. And I was so excited to get to go to a workshop we call it day 00 of leadership conference. It was on Friday and it was from 12:45 to 5:45. So 5 hours. And it was really good. There was a lot of different speakers. In my unit meeting, we were talking about they had a husband's panel. My husband was on. He was the winner because they had a little mystery thing where you had to guess what the product was, and he guessed it right. And then you had to say how much it cost, and he was the only man that got the price right. I'm like, Brad puts up my inventory. He is he's detailed. So he knew the price, probably I didn't. But anyway, it was really good. They did a little bit of recognition. I don't know how many people were in there, y'all. I mean, I'm gonna say like 500 at least, probably more than that. But anyway, our unit was recognized as number 5, and we were recognized on stage as having one of the top units as far as red jackets because we have had 8 in our unit. So we got a little reco in there, and that was exciting, and got to hear some really fabulous speakers. And we'll be sharing some of that. But she is the speaker tonight. So if y'all want to go in your book on page 18 is where you'll take notes of this, and we'll see what Kristin has to say to us. And when we get done, we'll discuss it some. Okay. One cool thing about her is her mother was a national sales director. She's an emeritus now, and they look like twin sisters. And the cutest thing is her mother got on there and showed us image like how to stand on stage correctly. And she showed like you don't do the fig leaf where you're standing on stage and you're holding your hands, and she says, and you don't do the military where your hands are behind your back. And she's like, no. So she showed how you have your foot out and then you take your heel and put it in the middle of your other foot. Then you slide like do like this and you go like this so your neck is tight, you look slimmer, and then when you wave, of course, you don't wave like this or like this, straight up in the air. And then that way, all this stuff isn't flying around, and you're not blocking your face when you're doing your wave when people are trying to take a picture of you. So it was just cute. She's done it before, but a lot of people hadn't seen it. And she had these little pink warm fuzzies that Mary Kay used to do back in the store back in the day. And they're little pink little guy with googly eyes, and they has little feet, and they'd stick it on you. And there's a story about offer a warm fuzzy, something sweet, to someone. And anyway, so she picked out like 13 of us in the room that she thought had the Mary Kay image. And when I got in there, I was one of them. So she picked that little pink fuzzy on me, and we all got to stand up. And anyway, it was kind of cute. Selah at the Atlanta conference, she did that. Selah got it. Remember that, Selah? And you got the little warm fuzzy. So anyway, it was an exciting day, and you're going to love Kristin. She's done million every year. So I mean, like, she has a national, but she still has $1 million unit, and she's really a hard worker. She does her own personal parties still. She recruits still. I think she says she got a gold medal. She'll talk about it. Anyway, let's, without any further ado, why don't I share the screen and let's hear a little bit about Kristin Sharpe, okay? So hang on just a second. Let's share the sound. Okay, let's get this big.
So, have you ever had a moment where something inside you just knew it's time? Not someday, not when everything feels perfect, but now. Well, hi, I'm Kristin Sharpe, National Sales Director, and I've had several of those it's time moments in my life, and every single one of them changed the direction of my future. I've been in Mary Kay for 19 years now, but my Mary Kay story began long before I ever ordered my own starter kit. It actually started 39 years ago when my mom made the decision to become a Mary Kay beauty consultant. At the time, I was 5 years old and my brother Scott was 2. And my mom originally joined to earn extra money so she could put me in piano and dance lessons. But not too long after she started her business, she became a single parent. And Mary Kay became our livelihood. If my mom didn't work, we didn't eat. If she didn't hold parties and appointments, we didn't have food, clothing, or a roof over our head. So she was extremely motivated to work. So when people talk about their motivation or their why, I understand it deeply. My mom didn't start her Mary Kay business because it was convenient. She started because she realized it was time. Time to provide, time to take responsibility for our future, and time to build something that gave her control. Now looking back, I know it wasn't easy. She had disappointments, she had discouragement, she had seasons where things didn't go her way, just like all of us. But I'm so grateful that I got to watch how she handled those moments, because her career didn't just provide for me and my brother, it shaped who we became. Mary Kay wasn't just my mom's job, it was our family business. And we worked with her, we helped her. And even at 5 years old, I had responsibilities. My first job was to label all the products, and I did an exceptional job. And as I got older, my responsibilities grew. And we always had a goal poster hanging right next to my mom's goal poster. And we even had quarterly prizes that we were working toward right alongside her. When my mom was working for her first Mary Kay career car, I was working for a hot pink scooter, and my brother Scott was working for a Fisher-Price bubble blowing lawnmower. I'll never forget. And our first job was simple. It was to go to the babysitter and don't cry. In fact, we got paid $1 every time we went to the babysitter while my mom held a Mary Kay appointment. We tracked it in our little gold jar, and we would fill in a thermometer with every dollar. So even at a young age, I understood something important. This wasn't just a job. This is what happens when someone decides it's time to go all in. You see, our family Mary Kay business paid for traveling sports teams for me and my brother, our first cars. It allowed us to graduate college debt-free. And even though I grew up watching the success that my mom had in Mary Kay, and I was blessed to have grown up pink, like I call it, I wasn't sure that Mary Kay was for me. So after college, I went after what I thought was my dream job, to work for the New York Times bestselling author and leadership speaker, John C. Maxwell. Maybe you know him. Well, I love leadership. I grew up listening to his CDs in Mom's pink Cadillac. Yeah, I said CDs. I think before that it was tapes, like cassette tapes. But I called John's office 75 times and I got 74 no's until I finally landed a job at his office. And what I realized later is this: I didn't take the rejection personally. I understood that each no wasn't about me. It was just part of the process. And I understand now why I could respond in that way. I had already watched this before. I had watched my mom hear no in her Mary Kay career over and over again. I watched her build from the ground up, party after party, goal by goal, all the way to national sales director. I had seen firsthand that no wasn't the end of the story. It was just part of the process. So when I was calling John Maxwell's office and hearing no again and again and again, I actually wasn't discouraged. I was actually conditioned to keep showing up, conditioned to stay professional, conditioned to trust that consistency eventually leads to a yes. And without even realizing it at the time, I was developing one of the most important skills I would ever use in my own Mary Kay business: the ability to keep moving forward without letting no stop you. So at 23 years old, I moved across the country from Washington State, the one by Oregon, to Atlanta, Georgia, to work for John Maxwell. I didn't know a soul. I actually found a roommate online. I bought a car over the phone, and none of those were like normal at this time, okay? I loved working for John. I learned so much, but my schedule was brutal. I traveled 5 to 6 days a week. I was rarely home. I was eating off like the dollar menu. And looking back, I'm grateful. I'm actually grateful that I got tired of staying in hotel rooms. I'm grateful that I got discouraged. I'm grateful that I was broke, living paycheck to paycheck, because discomfort has a way of pointing you to truth. It forced me to ask better questions of myself, like, what do I want my life to look like? And what really matters to me? And that's when I realized it was time. Mary Kay had everything that I was looking for, and I could finally see myself in this business. So I called my mom and I told her that I was ready to order my starter kit. I'll never forget it. There was this like complete silence on the phone. I'm like, Mom, are you there? And after a long pause, she said, well, that sounds like a great idea, honey. So on June 1st, 2006, I became a Mary Kay beauty consultant. And the very first thing my mom told me to do was to hold a perfect start. She said, book 8 parties to hold at least 5, a perfect start. She told me that skincare parties were the answer to any question I had about the business. Now, in the beginning, I was actually totally against skincare parties. And to be transparent, I actually felt like I was above them. I had just worked for a New York Times bestselling author, and I thought I was going to come into Mary Kay and find like this new and better way of doing things. Well, when I started, my mom still lived across the country from me in Washington State, a 9-hour plane ride, and there was no like virtual new consultant training. There wasn't Zoom. There wasn't like FaceTime like we have today. And she told me, Kristin, book 8 to hold 5. That was like new consultant training. And well, I wanted to prove her wrong, like any daughter, right? My plan was to do parties just long enough to show her that there was a better, more profitable, faster way to build. Well, 19 years later, oh boy, turns out, oh my gosh, Mary Kay, Ash, and Mom were right. And I figured it out in the beginning that they were right. And this brings me back to my very first party, you guys. My hostess's name was Barbara, and I was pre-profiling the guest for her party. I realized that every single woman coming had bronze skin, and clearly I do not. And I had 0 experience with bronze foundations, like no consultant training on that. So I called my mom in a panic saying, okay, Mom, what do I do? And she said, pull out all the bronze foundations and just put them on your face so you can understand the undertones. So literally I had them all slathered on my face and I still did not understand the undertones. Like there was no CC creams, okay? This was a little bit more intense. And of course the party started and we got to the foundation section and I looked around the room and I was like, oh my gosh, everyone is orange. Like really orange. And they knew it wasn't the right color. I was frustrated. I was embarrassed. I was so uncomfortable that I didn't even do a table close. I didn't even share the opportunity. I was like, get me out of here. I just want this to be over. And they were saying, oh yeah, that's not the right color. Oh yeah, that's not right color. And then Barbara walked up to me and she said, Kristin, I want to join Mary Kay. And I said, you do? And she said, yeah. You don't even know what you're doing, and you're not even giving people the right foundation shade, and people are still buying products. Look at how much people are buying. I can totally do this, Kristin. Now, I didn't know if I should laugh or cry in that moment, but I learned one of the most important lessons of my career that day. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to jump in. And sometimes not having it all figured out is exactly what allows someone else to see themselves doing this. Barbara ended up being on my team for over 17 years, and she taught me how to find bronze foundations. She also showed me the importance of diversifying my team. But more importantly, she taught me that finding people that are skilled in areas you are not is not a threat. It's actually key to your success. And this is exactly why this season and this Kit and Commit challenge is so perfectly timed. From the very beginning, Mary Kay Ash designed this business to be built through skincare parties. The original intention was to book 8 and hold 5 within a 2-week period. Why? Because momentum matters. When parties are closer together, confidence builds faster. Skills sharpen quicker. Results compound. So when you're watching this and saying, yes, it's time, I'm ready to go all in, I want to encourage you to think beyond just one perfect start. Doing this Kit and Commit promotion, you have the opportunity to do multiple perfect starts. Not just 1, not 2, 3, or even, gosh, you could do 4 or more now through February 15th. Yes, there's recognition. Yes, there's the opportunity to earn a call with legendary National Sales Director Emeriti Linda Tupin and Pam Shaw. But more importantly, this is how top achievers are created. Now, before I close, I want to say this clearly because I understand. When I joined Mary Kay, my mom had already booked or recruited just about every friend or family member like we had. And there wasn't this big list of waiting for me to contact. So if you're thinking, oh, I just don't have the friends or family to book, or Kristin, I don't know where to start, I want you to hear me. You are not behind. You just have to build momentum a little differently. So here's the math. A leads are people you already have a strong relationship with, and know that A leads book at about an 80% rate. Now there's also B leads. Now these are friends of friends or referrals from A leads, and they book between a 40 to 60% rate. And then there are C leads. These are cold leads, facial box leads, random warm chats, vendor booths, people you don't even know yet. And they book closer to a 20% rate. And with technology, that percentage can actually go down. Now, how did I figure this out? I tracked it. And a tracked number grows. So all leads are not created equal. And what I have found is that many consultants have been spending a lot of time trying to book C leads with a 20% booking rate. And only focusing on C leads can be time consuming and discouraging if you're not dealing with a large volume of leads. So understand the math. You can't expect C leads to perform like A leads without adjusting the volume. So once you understand that, the emotion comes out of it. Also know that even when you're at parties that are well coached, not all of them are going to hold. And that's not failure, that's just real life. That's why Mary Kay said, book 8 to hold 5. People reschedule, dentist appointments, hair appointments move. So the goal isn't perfection. The goal is to get good at the skincare party. So I want to encourage you to dust off your starter kit and move into action. Sit down and make your lead list, starting with A, and then B, and then C. And if you don't have enough, talk to your sales director about how to get more leads. Get masterful at booking from your bookings, because momentum doesn't come from waiting until you feel ready. Momentum comes from moving while you're learning. So if you've been waiting, overthinking, telling yourself you need more time, this is your moment. But more importantly, this is how top achievers are created. Looking back, the most strategic thing I ever did was fully jumping into the skincare party and committing to mastering it. Because everything I wanted from this business came from parties. Confidence, customers, team membership, directorship, cars, the million, national sales director. And the more parties I held, especially when I held them closer together, the faster I moved up the career path. Momentum doesn't come from doing one party really well. Momentum comes from doing many parties consistently. And some of you watching this today, you're standing at that same decision point. You've been thinking about the next step, the next goal, the next thing you keep circling. And if it keeps coming back to your heart, that's not random. That's clarity. And clarity is God's way of whispering, it's time. It's time. Time to decide, time to commit, time to move. It's your time, and you can do it.
Okay, you guys, wasn't that awesome? I tell you, she's so right about every single thing. I love her story. So what we're going to do is since we have a little time, I'm going to go ahead and remove my spotlight, and we'll just talk with everybody a little bit about what you got out of the call today. So you can do if you're on your computer, there's a little thing at the bottom that says raise your hand, or you can just raise your hand. And so something that you got out of her talk today, I thought it was so good, and I'll just spotlight you when you let me know you want to say
Or the
something.
thing is,
All right, Sayla, we'll start with you.
it was so good. Oh, every single thing that she said, but what I loved was one of the very last things where she said the goal is not perfection. The goal is to get good at the skincare party. And that I think that holds a lot of us back sometimes because we think we don't we don't know it. We're not perfect at the presentation or perfect at the close or doing the table close. But really, once you just start, and like she said, that party, that her first party, and she did so terrible, and the lady said, "Hey, I want to sign up if you're basically if you're this bad, then I can sell it, and I know what I'm doing." So anyway, I thought it was really good.
All right. Thank you, Sayla. I agree. I agree. Okay, Sandra Griffin, hang on. You can unmute and I'm going to spotlight you. You got to unmute, sister.
All
There
right.
you go. There you go.
Um, like she said, just jump in, just and momentum does matter. And like she said, it's not doing one party well, but doing many parties consistently. That resonated. Just to keep doing them, no matter how they turn out, just keep doing them.
Yeah. And you're going to get good at it,
Right.
eventually.
Don't
And you'll
forget
quit being scared of going to do it because you're like, I've done a million of these. And even if you forget something, you're like, it's fine. I can get a paper plate because I forgot my trays. I mean, we've all done it.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
all right. Thank you, Sandra. Okay, who else has something they would like to share? We'd love to hear from several of you. Just wave your hand or let me know that you have a comment, something you got out of it. Okay, Tina, hang on. You can unmute. All
Okay.
right. Hang on just a minute. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I took a class of speech in high school and in college, and to me that's what this reminds me of having a party that, once I know what I'm talking about, it comes from the heart and it's not as a big a deal as, and then I can relax after that. But you're supposed to have fun with it too. This is, skincare and makeup. Have fun with it.
Yeah,
So
I love it. Thank you. All right. Okay, anybody else have something that they got out of it they'd like to share? Okay, Linda, let you get you unmuted. Okay.
When she was talking about that she had several people at the class that had bronze skin, and she was like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to match bronze skin? I thought that would probably be me too, because it's easier to match somebody, for instance, of like, for instance, for me, probably it'd be easier for me to probably match somebody like a light or a medium, or maybe a medium to deep or something like that. But if I got into having to match somebody that has a bronze complexion, I probably would be like, uh, now how am I supposed to match them? But I always know that you're supposed to try to put like a spot down in here, and try to match them down in,
Right.
in here in this area. But it would probably cause a little bit of a problem trying to figure out how to match them. So at least, I've been listening to you and how to do it enough that I would probably not be totally confused, but it probably
Absolutely.
would be confusing once you had to get and do a bronze person's foundation though, but
Yeah.
it did
Well, and I'm
resonate to me.
right, and I'm sure there's women that are bronze skins that are like, how am I going to match this white girl? And
Yeah.
this is what someone told me back in my career. They're like, look, it's just it's tones. Think of that girl as a really dark tan. It's just not that big a deal. It's just skin that's a little darker. You're just gonna match them. The biggest thing is, and Sandra Griffin probably can tell you this, is like you have to let it dry because almost none of them look right when you first put it on.
Nope.
Like you smooth it in and then you're like, oh, okay, well, it's good.
Yeah,
So
let it dry so you can see what
it
it looks like.
isn't that right, Sandra? And
Yes,
so
you
that
got
was
to
a
put it on there and let it dry and for a few seconds, and then it'll
yeah.
tell you if it's right or not.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool learning that skill to do the opposite of what you are. So if you're a bronze, do some ivory skin girls so
Oh
that you
yeah,
can learn
I
that.
got both, so
Yeah. Oh, I
I'm
know.
honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
skin. I don't care what color it
That's
is.
right. Oh, okay, Connie, let me spotlight you.
Well, I don't know if you need to spotlight me. I was driving, and I pulled off so I could comment.
Okay.
One of the things that resonated with me was recruit somebody. Like she recruited Barbara so she could learn how to match the bronze skin, right? So
Right.
recruit the people where you yourself have something to learn,
Yeah.
right? So whatever where you are lacking something of that, those are the people that you need to find so that you can recruit them so that they can teach you, and then you can then in turn have your strengths to teach them.
Good. And this is something that's happened too. Is like maybe you're not the greatest with eye makeup. You just like, but let's say you have a party and this girl comes in and she looked really good. I've had this and I thought, I hope I can get her back looking as good as she did when she walked in because she looked so good. That might be someone that you say, you know what? You do a great job with your makeup. I mean, I would love to have you on my team because I would like to learn from you some tips. And usually people that look that way, they're probably real open to thinking about doing something like this because they like makeup. So that's great, Connie. Thank you so much. Okay, Felicia, let me find you over here. I see your hand, but I gotta find your face. Felicia, there you are. Okay, Felicia, can you unmute?
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay,
I think that my takeaway is that just remember that people are watching you while you're doing the party. And as long as you're being real and as long as you're not ashamed to show that you really don't know it all, know everything, I think that's what drew Barbara in, is that
yeah,
everybody still had fun, whether she had everybody orange or not. Everybody still had fun. She was able to still sell product and she was able to recruit. So I think that's just an inspiration that should settle with everybody, that it doesn't matter if you got it all. It doesn't matter if you know it all. Just do it. Just do
abs-
it because it will still bring that skill to you.
yeah. Thank you. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had parties where at the end I looked at them and I thought, Cleta, that don't look good. I mean, I knew it. She knew it, but she wasn't gonna say nothing, and she was so nice to me. And I'm like, I really don't think that foundation matches. She goes, I don't either. Like she wasn't gonna say it. And so I said, we're gonna have to just take it off. I said, so luckily one great thing now we have that micellar water. So I said, here, we're just gonna soak this up, just wipe it off. I said, and we're just gonna try something different. I said, I know we're not gonna go put all the I said, put a little moisturizer on, let's go. And I said, we're gonna get it right. I said, I can't have you leaving here, and that's a representation of me. And most of the time they're willing to go ahead and those people will end up buying it. Cause y'all back in the day, do you remember when we used to go to the mall? This is before I saw Mary Kay. and you go to like Merle Norman or the makeup counter and they would do your face. I did it one time. This is before Mary Kay. And I remember that makeup was so thick. Like if I went like this, like just what I just did, I would have a sure enough line right there where it was so caked on. And I left, felt like I looked like a clown, you know. So be willing that if it's not right, or like let's say they put a lipstick on and it just don't look good, just say, "Do you love that lipstick?" And if they hesitate, say, "I don't know that that's the right color. Let's try something different." And they like that. I think they appreciate it. Just
Yeah.
like if you're at the hairdresser and they do your hair and it's, you know, and you're like, "Look, I'm not trying to have old lady hair." And, you know, and so they let you, they go, "Well, here, let's brush it out here." And sometimes they'll just say, "Here, why don't you want here the brush?" And let you just fix it like you like it. And I'm like, "Thank you." And you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I think, and that draws me to that hairdresser because it didn't offend her. Do you see what I'm saying? And she was willing to let me do it like I like it. So anyway, I thought that was a good tip. Anyone else have anything? Okay, I want to tell you one thing that Connie. Okay, so Kristen is 45, and so her mom is retired with Mary Kay. So she's probably, I don't know what she is, but she's probably like 70 or something. But anyway, she's a doll. She looks beautiful. But I've been in for 40 years, right? And so I'm about 20 years, not quite, but 18 years older than Kristen. But when Connie was uh, in and I was in, Mary Kay Ash was the one that taught us to, with your children, to do prizes for when you go do your parties. And so that they will be excited when you leave to go do a party. And that whole thing about giving them $1 if they don't cry at the babysitter and have them a goal. And they're like, "Mom, don't you have a party tonight?" Because they wanted to win, like whatever prize that girl that you wanted. And then they're more excited about you leaving instead of whining and crying and making you feel the mom guilt every time you leave. So, any of y'all with little children, this is a great idea that Mary Kay Ash herself taught us years and years ago. And obviously, Connie did it with Kristen. Selah?
I just wanted to say on another note about what she said about the leads. I thought that was so
Yes.
good because so here is what I learned different. You know, we all know that there's different leads, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
But when she put the percentages of the that will hold, that makes so, I mean, you know, logically, if you've got a relationship with someone, it's more likely to hold. But if there's a 60 to 80% or 80 to 100% chance of it holding versus a cold lead with the 20% or more, it's going to can't. That is like, that's like one of those aha moments for me that I've always known about the leads and the different ones, but not really the math behind it. So really, and it would make so much sense, like she said, to work on the people that you know and that they were the people that they refer you to. And then if you don't have anything else, work on the cold leads.
Yeah.
I just, that was really good.
It
And just,
wasn't. She
yeah,
talked
and not,
about that this weekend too. She said, "You
yeah,
think of it this way. If you want to have two parties, so, and it's a cold lead, you're going to book 10
yeah,
to get two of those cold leads to actually hold. Then if it's a referral, the percentage was 40 to 60, so you could book six, you know, to
hmm,
have, like if you wanted two parties, you could book like maybe six or four, to have it hold, right? And then your friends and people you really know is 80%. So almost like, you know, it's still not 100%, but you might could book two to hold one. Okay.
yeah.
So that is really good. And
Yeah, and it takes the guilt out of it. It
yeah.
frees you. You're like, okay, this is mathematical. It's
Mhm.
not anything I'm saying or doing. It's just the numbers and how
Yeah.
it works.
You don't get your feelings hurt so bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love it, you guys. Thank you all so much for your comments. That's why really that fabulous game that we do at the parties where people give you leads, that's a B lead because it's a someone you know because they're at your party and it's a direct referral. So those, are better than just cold leads, which I have them all. But I do like booking parties from parties. I feel like because then the hostess, I say now because you booked the party, your hostess is going to get a little bit more free product, so that she feels a little more obligated to hold the thing, right? So anyway, All right, you guys. Thank y'all so much for showing up tonight. I'm glad to represent all the sales directors that are at the party, and I'm training y'all. So guess what? I said, you know what? All our beauty consultants that are home, they need to be working, and so they need inspiration. So we're gonna get on there and do that call. So it is recorded. So anyone that didn't get on, of course, they can go back and watch it. But thank y'all for jumping on today, and we'll see y'all next week. It'll be week number 4. Okay. All right. See you
Okay,
later,
thank you.
everybody. Thank y'all for hopping on.
Thank you, Cleta.